Hi everyone, welcome back to my video podcast. Today we're going to be doing yet another book review. Again, you're watching Teresa and this is Taboo. Today we're going to be reviewing Purple Hibiscus by Chimamanda Adichie. I don't think this book particularly needs a book review, but I have read the book and I just decided to do a book review. Chimamanda is a Nigerian author and she's internationally recognized. Everybody should know Chimamanda. I feel like she's so popular. I think her books are in syllabus. I first heard about Purple Hibiscus when I wanted to do GCE. I remember sleeping late, like just reading chapter after chapter, the summary by the way. And then I finally got a hand on the book from my friend Adichie. She gave me her copy and I got to read it, and then I got to reread it last week, and every time this book was good. Like every single time this book was good, this book was amazing, this book was drawing me in. You can get this book almost everywhere. I don't think there's an African country that you can't get this book. I don't think that there's a Western country that you can't get this book at all. My sister actually read this book from her library, like her school library was part of the literature books there. So I think like you can get a hold of Purple Hibiscus anywhere. Like I don't think there's a bookshop that wouldn't have Purple Hibiscus. I wouldn't even lie, because it's a beautiful book. It's wonderful, and obviously you can get some Play Store. So let's just jump right into the book. The main character was Kambili, and the book was written in Kambili's perspective. Kambili had a brother, Jaja, and her mother and dad, Mama and Papa. Her mother was Beatrice and her dad was Eugene. And then let's move over to Kambili's cousin. We have Auntie Ifeoma, Kambili's aunt, and then her children, Amaka, Obiora, and Chima, Kambili's cousins. And finally, the last two characters I think are relevant is Papa Nuku and Father Amadi. So these are the characters. So let's just talk about the dynamics between the characters. So the book is all about Kambili's journey. It starts is that kind of book that starts in the present, takes you to the past, and then comes back to the present. And it was beautiful, wonderful transition. So the family dynamic between Kambili, Jaja, and Mama and Papa is actually very toxic. Eugene is the typical, I wouldn't say typical because I feel like he's more of the extreme overzealous religious dad. Like there is no way you can go against him. It's either his way or the highway. Like there is no in between. He's always on the extreme, day in day out, nothing. We can see quintessential Eugene in this scenario. The family is in Aba and they're about to go to church, and Kambili is on her period and she has cramps. And her mom advises her to take drugs, but she can't take drugs without eating. And Eugene had demanded that everybody not eat before church, although the actual advice from the church is you shouldn't eat an hour before receiving the Holy Eucharist. But as we know, Eugene is extreme, so he's like you shouldn't break your fast at all until after church. But this is like a unique situation because Kambili needs food to be able to take her drugs so that she wouldn't have cramps, so that she can concentrate more in church. Like it's so logical. Anyways, Kambili's mom and Jaja decide to go against Eugene and make Kambili conflicts, but Eugene catches them. And Amanda's description of this scene is just beautiful because she describes Eugene as, like the way she described his entrance and how he reacted, it gave you the exact feel of how everybody would have been feeling at that point. You can imagine like you're living with a tyrant and then you're going against the wishes of the tyrant. However logical your reasons are to go against the reasoning of the tyrant, and then the tyrant just walks in. There's shock, there's fear, there's anticipation of something bad going to happen, and Eugene just removes his belt and starts lashing everybody, his wife, Jaja, and Kambili. And Chimamanda describes Eugene as sympathetic, or like he Chimamanda describes Eugene as if he didn't want to flog them, but he felt that it was his duty as a loving husband and as a good father to discipline his children and discipline his wife. Let me not talk about how outrageous that is. And discipline his wife so that they will follow the path of God and get salvation and get to heaven. Let's talk about the family dynamic between the cousins and the children. So Auntie Ifeoma was basically a champion in the novel. I loved her so much because she was Eugene's sister, so she had the same experiences as him, but she came out a different way. In a way, she came out somebody that had sense. You know, she was the champion of her children. She was the champion of Beatrice, Jaja, and Kambi. Like, she opened them up to a different perspective and a different light. But then with the cousins, Amaka at the beginning despised Kambili and Jaja and their life, and he really touches on, Chimamanda has talked about this, the problem of a one-sided story. Amaka just saw them as rich kids, and that was her one-sided story. She didn't see them as rich kids that, you know, don't have the same experiences as her, or rich kids that are not able to enjoy what being rich should give you. She didn't see them at all that. She just saw them as rich kids and drew assumptions for what their life would be like, and basically she had some sort of resentment for Kambili and Jaja at the beginning, but that changed and their relationship blossomed, and it was so beautiful. Like, every part of this book was beautiful. It was nice. I felt in touch with the book. I was wonderful. Let's think about it. I've read a summary and I've read the book twice, and each time it was entertaining. Like, each time I didn't skip anything. Like, I didn't say, oh, I've read this paragraph, let me just skip to the part that I like. From the beginning to the end, I read every word, every sentence, everything, and I was glued to it. One thing that I feel like was an undercurrent in the book was like how people can be blind to different things. Like, Eugene was blind to logic. Like, he didn't once sit back and ask himself, like, is this really necessary? Like, should this be what I'm doing? Like, he didn't do that at all. And then people of the village and Kelvin, the driver, I feel like they were blind to money. They didn't care that they were selling their integrity to Eugene. They didn't care about their humanity. They didn't care about so many other things. They only saw Eugene as a bank to withdraw money, and the bank has certain characteristics. The bank has certain requirements, and they all just decided to fit that requirement without thinking. What I loved about the book, I love the way Chimamanda describes it is, I would say, unheard of. The way she describes, like, it's funny, it is interesting, and it's a little bit taboo. I remember Kambili describing Amaka as looking like an Hausa goat. Let's be honest, sometimes we think that of people that we meet. We think like, oh yeah, they look like an animal, or not that they look like an animal, but you get, like, you have intrusive thoughts of people that just comes forward when you want to describe them, but then you're nice about it, describing them to somebody else. That you can say, oh yeah, she's brown skinned and she has oval face. Like, you describe somebody politely out loud, but your brain just goes about its own journey and describes people however your brain sees fit. And it was a joy to read Kambili's thoughts. Actually, the book could have been I Wish I Had. Like, that could have been the name of the book, because Kambili kept saying, I wish I had said that. and she kept seeking validation from her dad. So when Jaja would say something smart and her dad would be proud of it, she would think, I wish I had said that. When her mom would say something, when Ate Ifeoma would say something, she would think, I wish I had said that. When they do things, she'd be like, I wish I had done that. And I just think like that is a good way of describing Kambili. She lived in a constant state of regret. I like how Chimamanda writes things that are taboo and then make you question if they are actually taboo, because she just writes it and she doesn't even what do they call it, she doesn't even write and hint at if what she's writing is taboo or not. But when you're reading it, when I was reading it anyways, I felt like some things were like, it's a bit sketchy. Why are you there? Like the relationship between Father Madly and Kambili. Kambili didn't know that Father Madly loved her, but the way Kambili described Father Madly's actions and reactions to certain things, I feel like we the readers can come to the conclusion that Father Madly had feelings for her, and if he did, he was a priest having feelings for a 14 to 15-year-old girl. Although Father Madly never said that he loved her, but I feel like we all had that understanding that he could actually have loved her, and that's a little bit taboo. But Chimamanda just wrote that like it was happening every day. Something that made me very, very sad was when Kambili first came to Nsukka and she didn't know what to study. Like growing up, everybody has dreams. I remember telling my mom that I wanted to be a nurse, and then she said that was the first thing that I ever wanted to be. And then she told me, oh no, don't be a nurse, be a doctor, because nurses greet doctors. So I was like, yes, I'm going to be a doctor. And then one time in secondary school, Fatima College, I was hearing about Ben Carson, and I was like, oh yes, I could be a surgeon. I'm not afraid of blood. I like disgusting stuff. Like I don't mind watching disgusting stuff. I love Dr. Pimple Popper and Tobro and shit like that. So I was like, oh, I could definitely be a surgeon. And then sciences were not just for me, and I really like social sciences. So I was like, oh, I could be an accountant. And then I moved to Brookstone and they didn't have accounts, but they had economics, and I was like, okay, I like economics, so I would study economics. But like it was a perfect transition for me. Like at different points I kept changing what I want to be. Right now I want to be a project manager. In 2 years I might want to be an accountant, God knows what, and I might even change again and go into computing or whatever. Like, but at least I know that I have control of what I'm going to be, like some level of control of what I'm going to be. But let's move on to rating this book. I'm going to rate this book a 9 out of 10. Something was telling me like, why can't you just rate the book a 10 out of 10? And the only book I've rated a 10 out of 10 is 1,000 Splendid Suns. And I don't think any book can match 1,000 Splendid Suns. I'm sorry, I love Chimamanda, but I just feel like 1,000 Splendid Suns is, yeah, and Purple Hibiscus is just one shot of getting to 1,000 Splendid Suns. 1,000 Splendid Suns took my heart. Like my heart is forever with that book. So I rate this book a 9 out of 10. Relatability, I feel like it was there. I'm Catholic. Entertainment, wow, I was really entertained considering how many times I've read this book or I have come across this book. I was very, very entertained. Writing style, oh my god, beautiful. I love Chimamanda's writing, beautiful. And then value added, I feel like this is the only place that it lacked a bit. It was a reality that I know about, so it was just entertaining. I don't think that there was anything new I learned. It was just entertaining and made like a good way to pass time. So from all these 4 characteristics, I'm rating this book a 9 out of 10. Again, I'm sure you can get this book everywhere. This was Chimamanda's first book, Purple Hibiscus, and thank you all for watching. Thank you guys. Like, if you're watching this thing, you're making me want to do more book reviews, and thank you for that. So anyways, you're watching Teresa, and again, this is Chat with Tea.